I dislike traditional television. I think that's the millennial in me. I feel like I was in the first batch of people fed up with expensive cable packages and ready to do streaming instead. This is back in the OG days of Netflix, when the streaming interface was cheesy looking but nostalgic in a movie theater kind of way. Why is this important? Because I didn't watch this series live. I miss out on quite a bit of critically acclaimed television because I dislike the week-to-week nonsense. Why would I like it? We live in a world of instant gratification. I can go stream another show and just binge it. Hilariously, with the rise of Disney Plus within the oversaturated market that is streaming apps, they are embracing the week-to-week aspect with the high-tier television. This too bothers me, and I am extremely selective if I will watch a show week-to-week. Proof? I still haven't watched Loki yet. Now that it's out entirely, I can go binge the entire series and probably be a little bit happier. I did the same thing with WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. What does this have to do with Professor Keating and her annoying law student children? In short, everything. Because everything I like and dislike about this show all really comes down to the messiness of how traditional television is created. 90 episodes, 15 per season, 6 seasons, first aired in 2014 and final airing in 2020. When you watch something from season to season, there's a lot more emotional investment that you end up having. You're waiting on the show week to week. You're waiting on the show to come back after the mid-season finale. You're waiting on the show to come back after the summer and start in the fall. You're in this yearly mindset about the show, and it's even deeper when the show asks you to think, as it's a thriller mystery that has its highest moments in its suspense and earth-shattering reveals. Don't let me ruin your experience if you enjoy the ride. But How to Get Away with Murder was not worth the 6-year emotional journey. That seems to be a high price to pay for the end result of Season 6. For a show to be so big on the reveals, making us fall in love with characters and relationships, and often writing in a way that expressed finality so strongly, there's an interesting decommitment not just in the final season but the final moments of the show. What the hell are you talking about, Black Man's Log? The contrast of the death of Wes and allowing it time to breathe and play out versus the deaths of Bonnie and Frank being shock-induced gunshot wound scenes that last seconds. The contrast of Michaela and Connor always having each other's backs in one episode, and then in the same season, the opposite happening and not being able to see the fallout of that. For as much emotional investment that you have been building for years, it feels like the show deserved a 2-hour special, carefully laying out the futures of each character. You can fill in pieces based on what is shown, but it feels hollow in the aspect of not pursuing that finality. After Wes died, after Nate Sr. died, we saw the fallout and the next steps beyond that. Yes, these are major plot points, so they had to be detailed, but just hear me out. Who killed Hannah Keating? Why should Nate Leahy's future distract me from the fact that he's murdered 2 people, one of them innocent? Did Annalise pursue a wrongful death lawsuit for Bonnie? What was the emotional fallout for the remaining kids once they found out Frank and Bonnie's fate? Did Annalise Keating save herself? This is one of the most critical aspects of the show. We've seen her at high and low moments, hating people and in love, and ultimately it appears that she ends up alone, something she was clearly afraid of. If this is something she overcame, why not show that? If not, why not show that? The point in asking these questions is that it creates significance and meaning, and when you get to the end of the show, you have to ask yourself, was it all worth it? You want me to care about Annalise being an alcoholic and severely depressed, but you have not shown me the final result. That's okay. Sometimes things end in a work in progress. Take Mad Men, for example. Don Draper isn't quite whole, but appears to end on a note that expresses the finality of the character well. How to Get Away with Murder is an extremely good television show. It's filled with all of your twists and turns each episode. It has the annoying TV cliffhangers that are built to make sure you at least DVR the episode the following week. It's definitely a show worth discussing week to week after the big reveals, similar to Game of Thrones. There's only one season that truly bored me, and I honestly forget which one it is. One of the seasons after the death of Wes, when I was pissed about him being dead, because he's clearly the best character in the show. The show's on Netflix and Hulu. I didn't quite binge the series, as 6 seasons is quite a lot, and I watched this one with my wife as well, but I'm glad I knocked out this series on my time, and I didn't have 6 years worth of emotional investment. The ending does not do enough for anyone paying attention to character development. This is common for television series like this though. This is why I dislike them. I knew what I was getting into coming into the series, but when you hear everyone losing their minds about the ending of insert critically acclaimed television show here, you do start to get curious. The ending isn't boring, it's full of shock value, but that's the meat of it. That feels cheap compared to the character development we have received in the past. There are other flaws I could point out. I could also point out the high moments relating to the LGBTQ, race, and the justice system. I actually teared up a little bit when I watched the episode describing solitary confinement in the courtroom. But that's How to Get Away with Murder. It's those high moments mixed in with everything else that you get with fall drama television. With the exception of the second season of The Mandalorian, I feel like my rule is still pretty good to live by. Most shows aren't worth watching week to week. It was fun watching the show in its organic state. Professor Keating leading the charge on unwinnable cases backed up by law students attempting to impress her. Obviously the show could not go on in this manner, but I am nostalgic for the days not complicated by Jorge Castillo and his billions of dollars. I'll end the review by saying this. The true crime is that Wes Gibbons died and the show actually still went on successfully, which is an amazing feat as there was not a sharp decline in viewership as I expected. Now that, my friend, is truly how you get away with murder. 7.5 out of 10 on the official Black Man's Log scale. If we're rating season to season, the results would be much different. You decide. Viola Davis and the gang killed it in their roles, but per usual, I wish there was better writing. Oh well.